Why sustainability and why now?
COVID has certainly escalated the demand and the critical need for sustainability. When borders closed and we realized that supply chains were disrupted.
We have the city in nature, we have the energy to set sustainable living, green economy, resilient future.
How far has Singapore gone in terms of achieving the plan?
What we're doing currently is really we're coming up for tourism companies. We want to make sustainability fun.
Just listening to you, I would like to go back to Singapore already.
Please come, we welcome you with open arms.
I hope that just Vietnam, we just do something a little bit the same, We frame the message to the people, whether we are part of Singapore, we are part of the region.
It's fantastic to see how the government is embracing innovation and creativity, and especially startups in the process to build sustainability for a nation.
Increasingly, we realize it's not just something that is good to do, it's the right thing to do.
If you see opportunities for partnerships in sustainability between Vietnam and Singapore.
We look forward to partnering with people in Vietnam, companies in Vietnam, provide more sustainable travel options.
It's not about, you come to Singapore for do something. This is a place for you to enjoy something and to think back about Saigon, about Vietnam, about everything.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show on Nguy Cơ, risk and opportunities. Today, we're going to take you to a very close to my heart topic, sustainability, and bring you to Singapore, a city in nature, a country with a lot of focus on building sustainability as a strategy moving forward to reconnect Singapore to the world. Let's meet with our speakers today, Ms. Jeannie Lim, Assistant Chief Executive Officer, Policy and Planning at Singapore Tourism Board, and a Singaporean Vietnamese, Lê Hữu Huy, Executive Director of Vietnam Global Network, Singapore. So hello, Jeannie, and hello, Huy. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Steven. Hello, Jeannie.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be on the show. Thank you so much for inviting me.
So it's great to have you guys with us here today. Before we start the show, though, we always have a mini game for all the speakers. So I'll start with the mini game with you both. I'll start with you first, Jeannie, lady first.
Okay.
Here we have 4 boxes representing add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So as a leader of an organization, which one would you start first to plan in your organization? Just choose one, and then we'll read the questions from the box.
Well, I don't know that mathematics was my favorite subject in school. But anyway, if I had to pick one, I think I would pick addition. And the reason is really because it's the first thing that you learn, right? 1 + 1. I think it's the baseline foundation. And in any business, you always need to start with the basics. And if you get your basics right, then you can go on and progress anywhere from there.
Fantastic. That's a great answer. Okay, I'll go straight into the questions. And the first question for you, Jeannie, is if you had to choose to live in one place for the rest of your life, where would it be? And don't tell me it's Singapore.
Well, it would have to be Singapore for sure, without a doubt, 100%. Singapore is my home. I'm born and bred Singaporean. And my family and my loved ones are here, and I love my country. So definitely Singapore.
Okay. Not out of my expectation, actually. Second question, if you only had one day left to live, what would you like to do the most?
Well, if I had my last day on earth, I think I would want nothing more than just to be with my family at home. I think I will, keep it back to basics, like my mathematical question. And it comes down to basics, right? When you leave this world, you can't bring anything with you. You can't bring your materialistic things. And what you'll carry with you is the relationships that you share with your loved ones. So then probably just a simple day with my loved ones surrounding me.
So totally on the same page with you. I'm very much big on family as well. So thank you for that. And I hope the audience gets to get to know you a lot better now. Huy, I would like to turn the questions to you and ask again among add, subtract, multiply, and divide, which one would you choose?
I would choose multiplication. To me, multiplication.
Why is that?
To me, is everything is about multiplication. So, okay, I want to do one thing, it will be multiply to 2 or 3 or 4, or maybe with 10. Yeah, this is my philosophy. Yes.
Fantastic. Yeah. So let's hope that we have an exponential show.
Yeah.
So Huy, if you could meet your 18-year-old self today, what message would you tell yourself at that time?
Well, I think is life is beautiful. Just enjoy life, do what you can, and that's it.
Right. So are you enjoying life at the moment?
Yes, I enjoy every single moment of life in Singapore, whether with my friend or...
Fantastic.
Yes.
Okay, next question to you. If you had to live on a deserted island, who would you choose to accompany you?
Okay, I believe in God. So I believe God will be always with me, actually. So it happened, if a person is there with me, I believe he or she is a God. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is my belief.
Wow, okay. So your existence is very much in line with your spiritual spirit.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you everyone for letting the audience know a little bit more about yourself.
As a retailer, we find that we have to rethink our processes
so that we can actually deliver product in a sustainable manner.
COVID-19 has definitely shown us that sustainability can be development friendly and business friendly. And that is why we have evolved from a garden city to a city in a garden to now city in nature.
I'm going to jump right into the topic of today, and the topic is obviously one very close to my heart, sustainability. I'll start with Ginny and ask, so sustainability, as I understand, is at the heart of the national strategy for Singapore moving forward. So my question would be, why sustainability and why now?
Well, sustainability used to be something that most of us thought was a good thing, right? A good to do. But I think increasingly we realize it's not just something that is good to do. It's the right thing to do. And given the environment that we've lived in, I think COVID has certainly escalated the demand and the critical need for sustainability. When borders closed and we realized that, supply chains were disrupted, there were many disruptions throughout our lives. All the more, I think it became quite apparent that we need to take sustainability seriously. So the Singapore Green Plan was announced in about over a year ago. And really it charts out our ambitions and our goals towards 2030 and what we want to achieve by then. We do have quite ambitious targets. Within the government, we've set up a Ministry of Sustainability and Environment to really help to then pull together the various agency efforts to work towards some of our key targets. For example, to plant 1 million more trees, to quadruple solar energy deployment by 2025, to reduce the waste sent to landfills by 30% by 2030, so on and so forth.
Ginny, why is Singapore planning so much on sustainability? Have you seen any consumer behavior changed before and after COVID for you to be able to focus on that?
Yeah, well, I mentioned earlier, there's been a lot of disruption, and being a very small city state and knowing that, for example, it's not a limitless resources. Our water story has always been something that we've been quite focused on ever since our early founding days, ensuring that we're self-sufficient, whether it's in water, in energy, in food resources. And being a garden city and a city in nature has always been a core part of our DNA in Singapore. And I think as we hit COVID and we realized that, we can't always be dependent on having a unlimited supply of resources, it became more critical that we do need to watch the way we're using our resources. And the goals also help to strengthen our commitment to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and Plans as well. So it's quite critical that it's not just a theoretical concept. It's not just something that the government puts out a paper on, but I think we really want each and every citizen and resident in Singapore to also embrace the plans. And for us in the tourism board, we also want to make sustainability important, not just to us as an agency or as a corporation, but we want to make it meaningful for the visitors that come to Singapore. And to the companies that work in the tourism sector. So for example, we commissioned a study recently that's still ongoing to really look at the addressable market. How many people would travel specifically towards sustainable destinations? How important is sustainability to travelers as they travel post-COVID? And we realize actually that importance has picked up. There are more people now that are a lot more conscious of sustainability and wanting to deliberately choose sustainable options when they travel. And so when we see the findings from our survey, that sort of brings back the business case then to our tourism companies in Singapore. Whether you're a hotel, you're an attraction, whether you're a convention venue, they need to start thinking about how they can run their facility in a sustainable way and how they can make it meaningful for the visitors that do come. And so another key prong of our strategy is, helping companies and tourism businesses become more sustainable. We want to also welcome innovation in sustainability. But I think finally, we want to make sustainability fun. It is a serious topic. It is a serious theme. There are serious targets and goals. But if you really want to touch the visitor, you need to be able to touch on their emotions and make it fun and meaningful for them. So a core part of our tourism sustainable strategy for Singapore is also to look at how we can, for example, do gamification, award different points, or sort of reward people that choose sustainable options and make it a fun and meaningful experience for them too.
Wow. Just listening to you, I would like to go back to Singapore already. I used to...
Please come. We welcome you with open when borders
I used to spend, 3 to 5 days a month in Singapore. So because of COVID, I couldn't do it anymore, but I'm hoping to do it again. But since Ginny touched on the point of having businesses involved in the plan, especially tourism companies, I would like to turn the question to Nguy and ask. So as a business owner living in Singapore right now, how do you see this change affect you on your everyday operations of the company and also your perspective for the future?
Singapore, basically, we already, the solution, the green and clean environment you can see is there. Of course, before the so-called sustainability, plan, we already see things happen. Actually, it's a reminder. It's a gentle reminder and a strong message to the Singapore people, Singapore residents. And well, like Ginny has just said, this is, it's not just for Singapore. It's a model for Southeast Asia, even for the whole world. If you look at the city and how Singapore can survive. Well, but this is, I think, is a very, very good reminder to Singaporeans, Singapore residents. But again, it's a matter of mindset. So which means, as people we have to do more and more. Yes.
So I don't know if you mind me chiming in. I think we brought up very, very good points. And it's definitely an uphill task. It's a challenge. So I think what you say is actually not completely surprising, and it's not rare. I think it's quite a common sort of perception amongst the people here as well. And that's why I think the challenge lies then upon the people involved in sustainability. How do they spread the message? How do they engender more people to believe in it and to be able to relate to it? So, for example, even living in Singapore, we might think, sustainability, it's a very foreign topic. But if you think about it, when you look out your window, you're stuck at home, you do appreciate seeing greenery. And now I think the number of people in Singapore that have been going on nature trails, cycling, all our different park connectors has gone up tremendously. In fact, there's been a bicycle shortage in Singapore because a lot of people have taken to fitness and enjoying our parks and greenery. And that's a very important part of sustainability and a very important part about being a city in nature. And, most of us are now working from home. Water consumption goes up, energy consumption goes up. I'm sure we're all concerned if we have rising bills. And so then it's important and imperative that we do start thinking about more sustainable, sources of water and energy. So that's another example that we can really sort of drive home to the man on the street, to every person that's working from home, to be able to relate to sustainability. And I think most important during this COVID period is really the message of resilience. And you brought up our National Day theme song for the year, right? COVID has hit all of us so badly, but I think we want to believe that we are resilient. We might be beaten down, but we will stand up again. We will get up and, we will carry on. And we will continue to succeed. So this may be a setback, but it's not going to set us back forever, because we want to build ourselves in a resilient manner and to be able to ensure that we are living the best lives that we can sustainably, because then it will impact our future generations as well, not just for our generation, but for our children's and grandchildren's generation. So those key points about sustainability, I think when we mention it in those ways, then the average man on the street can better relate to. But if you talk about very lofty goals, sometimes it makes it very hard to relate to. And that's a challenge. And that's why even in STB, when we think about sustainability and our strategy and how we want to impact the destination, it has to then also translate to being fun for the visitor. So that's something which we are working on quite seriously. We take fun quite seriously because it is important that if it's not fun and meaningful to the visitor, then it defeats the purpose, right? The businesses will say, oh, you want me to be sustainable? If it's going to add more cost to my bottom line, but it's not going to drive my top line revenue, then why should I be doing it? So by making the visitors demand sustainability, that will make the business case very strong for companies to themselves pursue sustainability.
Ginny, so the plan has been established in Singapore, and I understand that you have key targets like city and nature, you have energy reset, you have resilient future, you have sustainable living. So you have 5 key targets, but how far has Singapore gone in terms of achieving the plan to date?
Yeah, well, we only just launched it. So we're in the very early days, right? This is 2021. These are targets that what you mentioned are really the 5 key pillars that we are focusing on over the next 10 years. So I think we are making some good progress. It's very, very early days yet. So I don't think we can quite measure it. In STB, what we're doing currently is really we're coming up for tourism companies. We are using technology in a way that can help companies measure their efforts and to measure their progress as well. So for example, we've launched our Tourism Transformation Index in April 2020, which is basically a self-diagnostic tool that companies can use to understand where they are in their transformation. So when we look at transformation for a company, it's not just in sustainability. We look at a complete business transformation. So it covers very much digital and tech solutions, where they are in terms of the digitalization and how they're using solutions for various purposes. So it could be for business transformation, or it could be for sustainability. So one example that I can cite is a local startup company called Lumetics. We have paired them up with the hotel group Millennium and Copthorne International Limited to use their technology to really help to reduce food waste and lower their costs using the solution which actually combines artificial intelligence or AI, data analytics and image recognition software. So at this stage of our early phase of the journey, what we're doing is trying to get companies to recognize where they are in their journey, what solutions are out there that they can tap on to then use data analytics to better understand and assess where they are and what are the gaps that they can then plug to improve to become more sustainable. And then, of course, we want to measure the outcomes, and I think that's very important, but we will continue to do that as we progress on this journey.
So it seems like you involve businesses a lot and startups as well in the process of building the plan together. And to you, Nguy, as a business owner in Singapore, are you part of the plan? Are you involved? Are you engaged? Are you doing anything to be the stakeholder in this particular plan?
I love the word stakeholder.
Mhm.
In Singapore, I'm an interpreter. From time to time, you have to use the word a stakeholder in Vietnamese. Actually, we don't have this word in Vietnamese. Actually, the stakeholder is everybody have a stake, and I think the success of Singapore is that everybody feel that you have a stake. You hold a stake in this nation. I think it's a very important message. So I think it's going forward. The plan is everybody will feel that we are part of the plan. I look at the way how the plan is drafted. We have the city in Asia. We have the energy to set sustainable living, green economy, resilient future. I hope it's just Vietnam. We just do something a little. It's just the same. It's just we frame the message to the people. When if you feel we are part of Singapore, we are part of the region. We are part of the world. So I think it's from a personal perspective. Well, everybody have to be involved. Okay, but of course the man of the street and the people, the common people, of course they have they have different reaction. But to me, as a person, of course, I have to do something, especially in my home, in my office. But of course, in the business, definitely there's a lot of opportunities. To me, it's very simple. I can learn something from Singapore and I share with my friends and my business associate in Vietnam. And definitely it's a good business anyway. So this one, I think we benefit a lot.
Thank you, Huy, for that sharing. So obviously, we will be reopening at some stage, and there will be a lot of other things that we have to put into account to open safely for every visitor. But on sustainability, what are some of the things that you are already doing and preparing for the visitors to come back with a wow experience on sustainability itself?
Well, maybe I can quote some research first in terms of what has then driven our decisions and our strategies. So when we looked at, for example, Booking.com, they put out a Sustainable Travel Report 2021, where they indicated that actually 61% of global travelers do want to travel more sustainably in the future. And the percentage of global travelers that want to stay in sustainable accommodation has actually increased from 62% in 2016 to 81% in 2021. So that kind of tells us a few key things, right? People do want to travel sustainably and they want to stay in sustainable accommodation. So we've been working very closely with the Singapore Hotel Association in Singapore. They have in fact set up a sustainability committee specifically to then look at how the hotels in Singapore can come and have some standardized criteria for sustainable certification, as well as initiatives and projects. So we want to make sure that hotel, that's an important part of every visitor's stay in Singapore, that they are able to have their choice sustainable options. And we have many good hotels that have already done fantastically well on sustainability. So for example, we have Resorts World Sentosa. Resorts, they're located in Sentosa. We're very proud of them and for them because they actually achieved very recently in August this year green certifications under the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, or GSTC. So they got the destination criteria as well as the qualification for hotels. So I think these are not easy certifications to obtain, and then they put in a lot of effort to ensure that they were able to meet some of this criteria. So for example, today they house one of our largest solar photovoltaic installations in the hospitality sector, and it's actually located in Universal Studios Singapore. So it helps them to generate a more sustainable amount of energy yearly that they can then use to sort of resource the rest of the property. Another very popular, of course, hotel or integrated resort is the Marina Bay Sands. They also have a very strong sustainable strategy, and they target climate, water, resource recovery, food, and people. So for example, since 2015, they have actually reduced their water consumption by over 10%. In terms of resource recovery, in 2019, they diverted a total of 800,000 kilos kilograms of food waste from landfills by adopting technology such as anaerobic digesters and food waste tracking solutions. So I think we want to amplify such efforts across other hotels. A new hotel that has recently opened in Singapore, as well as the Park Royal Collection in Marina. They have opened in a very beautiful property where you see trees and a lot of greenery on the inside. So they have actually brought the nature inside the hotel in a very sustainable manner. So people feel relaxed. I think a lot of people have faced a lot of mental stress during this pandemic. So being surrounded by greenery and nature, even within a building, within the hotel, I think will help its guests in terms of feeling well and being well. So these are some good examples of sustainable options that visitors can have when they come to Singapore. And then when it comes to attractions, we have the Wildlife Reserve Singapore. That's well known for having the Singapore Zoo, the night safari, the river safari. So they have always been championing sustainable options and sustainability. And even in their plans for building the new Mandai Nature Park, they are trying to do so in a way that's respectful of the environment that they are in. So there are a lot of initiatives like that, as well as experiences that visitors can enjoy when they come to Singapore in a fun and sustainable way.
I can't wait to go back to Singapore and live and stay in one of those forest hotels that you just mentioned. Gina, I would like to go back and talk a bit more about how Singapore as a focus on sustainability as a national plan. Obviously, we're living in the creative economy. So a lot of the things that we do or move forward with has to be based on innovation, on technology, on smart systems, on big data and all that. And I know you mentioned earlier that you used to connect a startup with a big hotel chain to work on sustainability. So I would like to hear your perspective on how Singapore is doing this as a strategy to connect sustainability as a focus of the nation with the creative economy.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of opportunities. I think they have had, we have an accelerator that's actually within STB itself. So from time to time, we do have a collection of startups, and they have to come up with solutions that meet the problem statements from the hospitality and tourism industry. So for those that are sustainability related, it could be using AI or artificial intelligence. It could be using data analytics. It could be using a whole RFID or a whole variety of tools that can help them to then better track, monitor, as well as then identify areas of gaps that they can improve on. So those are some of the ways that we kind of marry the solutions or technology providers with some of the creative companies or the tourism sector. And one example I can give also is, for example, Sentosa. I think if you've been to Singapore, you might be familiar with Sentosa, which is an island resort towards the south of Singapore. So they, for themselves, as an island, have set an ambitious target of achieving being carbon neutral by 2030. So what they are doing, for example, is they're developing an ecosystem with their Sentosa Island partners to really develop this Sentosa carbon neutral network. So they want all the partners to come aboard that account for more than 90% of their carbon profile. And they're then going to partner together to look at carbon reducing initiatives. So they will be leveraging data with tech partners. And some of these areas will address, for example, zonal cooling solutions. So it's not just about one company adopting a solution, but they're really looking at then within a zone, how can different companies tap on the same district cooling system, to have economies of scale. They're looking at waste to energy systems. They're looking at island-wide renewables deployment and greening island transportation. So going around that island itself in a green and sustainable way. So this sort of helps them, the different smaller partners that might be on the island, to be able to tap on available technology to share resource. But then it also helps them to have much greater ownership from a very ground up level. So they know that they are themselves contributing towards this target, towards this goal as well. So that's an example that I can share.
And from the government's perspective, obviously solutions are good for businesses in Singapore, but does the government also use these solutions in your state-owned enterprises?
Definitely. I think we can't be left behind. So we have to be able to walk the talk ourselves. So one good example that I can give is within, because in STB, we regulate the travel agents and the tourist guides in Singapore. So we have in the last 2 years developed a system called TRUST, TRUST, although it stands for, travel and regulatory, it stands for the system that we have in terms of issuing as well as renewing travel licensing, as well as tourist guide licenses. But now, especially in view of COVID, I think the travel agents and tourist guides have appreciated the going digital. So previously, everybody has to carry a hard copy sort of a license, but now they can just go onto the system. They can log on to their mobile app or go online. They can do their renewals. They can find out when their license fees are payable. If there's any information, any guidelines, COVID-related safe management measures, we do push out through this system as well. And when we had initiatives around various incentives to support the industry during COVID, that's also the system that we leverage to push out such notices and announcements. So it's made communication and it's made accessibility a lot easier. And we're even now also looking at, for example, even the licensing exam, how much of that can be done digitally as well.
It's fantastic to see how the government is embracing innovation and creativity, and especially startups in the process to build sustainability for a nation. So Huy, I would like to go back to you, and with whatever Ginny just had to say, I'm very inspired, by the way. What are your perspectives as a Singaporean and as a Vietnamese learning what STB has to do?
To remember Singapore, we work with the Singapore Exhibition Services. Okay, we do some small translation, and after that, I also help some of the language, examination for Vietnamese. Okay, and the licensing is a very important, part of the industry. Okay, and it's fun to make the life easier for the, tourist tour guide. And especially, a lot of tour guide. I know a lot of tour guide. Singapore is small, and now they have to do so-called safe distancing ambassador, right? So a lot of things they have to do. So and then it's nice for people. They know that see the government is scared for them and prepare for the the very near future when the pandemic is over. Okay, but you can ask me. I ask STB to do more. Maybe you provide more training for the the tour guide. In the future, and of course, maybe they'll have the skill futures. And because our the tour guide, they have to upgrade. Anyway, it's lovely. I think what Singapore has done, people, we feel that we are not left behind. We are there, and the government is listening and do something despite the crisis.
So Huy, I would like to go ahead and ask you about what you're doing, basically connecting Vietnam and Singapore. As part of your everyday business. Are there anything that you would like the audience of Vietnam to know about preparing themselves for going to Singapore when the Green Lane is open?
I came to Singapore in 1997. Okay, I work in the banking sector. At that point in time, I was very happy and was proud to be a bridge between Vietnam and Singapore as far as a banking business is concerned. Nowadays, of course, we're going to have a few things. I think definitely from the business perspective, we can do. First thing, is so-called my business. The meeting, incentive, conferencing, things like that. Okay, I think definitely we have a lot of opportunities. Okay, and of course, we will try. We work together with my business partner. To bring people to Singapore. Another thing is ongoing business. It's about business training and coaching. So it's a lot of things we can do. Frankly speaking, a lot of information here is enough for me to organize at least 2 seminar or workshops. So I think it's a very, very good opportunity. Yes.
So I would like to wrap everything up a little bit and would like to go back to Chini and ask if you see opportunities for partnerships in sustainability between Vietnam and Singapore.
Well, definitely, yes. I think we're very open to partnerships and collaborations, and that's really what we should be doing more of. We look forward to partnering with people in Vietnam, companies in Vietnam, whether they are looking to provide more sustainable travel options or offer such experiences, or if there are Vietnamese companies that want to bring their innovations to Singapore that can help us to also, better attain our sustainable targets, I think we definitely welcome that. Recently, we kickstarted the Singapore Reimagined Global Conversations, which combines travel-related insights with global expert opinions to really rally and reimagine the global tourism industry in the future, since tourism sector worldwide has really taken a beating. And so we hope that through these conversations, we can provide a platform for Vietnamese audiences to exchange solutions and ideas with each other and with us, and to also reimagine what the new travel experience can and should be, and definitely encompassing sustainable travel as well. So we look forward to that. And I think Huy mentioned, how he's focusing on business events and business meetings and MICE. That's definitely a very core part of our tourism sector as well. And in fact, we will be hosting the Bloomberg New Economy Forum in Singapore from November 16th to 19th. I think we do envisage to have quite a few global leaders, thought leaders, as well as politicians attend that. And that's an opportunity as well to share and exchange key information relating to issues ranging from managing COVID towards future resilience and sustainability possibly as well. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for us to continue to collaborate between Singapore and Vietnam. Vietnam definitely remains a very important part of ASEAN and a very important partner for Singapore as well.
So I would like to thank you both for being on the show today. But before we leave, we've been talking a lot about sustainability and the national strategy of Singapore moving forward to build a sustainable future. Before we leave, I would like to ask you both to leave a sentence to all the sustainability conscious travelers of Vietnam so that they would remember and they would be able to keep Singapore in mind when Singapore is open again in the future. We'll start with you, Ginny.
Well, sustainability is not just a good thing. I think it's the right thing to do. So we welcome all Vietnamese visitors to come to Singapore to enjoy our city and nature, where you can experience large experiences with a small footprint.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ginny. What about you, Huy?
From the perspective of as a Vietnamese living in Singapore for the last 2 decades, welcome to Singapore. Okay, if you have a chance, we go out for a drink. You go to Chinatown, you go to Little India, the Malay village. Okay, enjoy food, enjoy company with your friends. Okay, and that's it. So it's business. It's not about you come to Singapore for do something. It's a place for you to enjoy something and to think back about Saigon, about Vietnam, about everything. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Huy. So thank you, Huy and Ginny, very much for your inspiring thoughts on sustainability today. And I look forward to seeing you both in the City of Nature.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Van. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Huy. Nice chatting with you too.
Nice. Me too. Bye-bye.
So everyone, I hope that you have enjoyed a story behind sustainability, a story of reality, a story of what we're actually doing to achieve sustainability in the future in accordance with the UN 2030 Sustainable Development Plan. And as you can see, as more and more tourists and travelers in the world are conscious of sustainability, there should be a strategy, a national strategy at heart to focus on building sustainable future, building sustainable nation, and building sustainable economy. And we have seen a case study in action of Singapore, and I hope that you get inspired by the stories shared by Ginny Lim and Lê Hữu Huy. And I hope that when the Greenland is reopened, you will see with your eyes how sustainability has been built into the everyday life and everyday reality of Singapore. I wish you all the best, stay safe, and I hope to see you in the next show.
Cùng Nguyễn Phi Vân trong talk show Nguy Cơ phát sóng thứ 5 hàng tuần trên vnexpress.net.